One issue a lot of literature students ask me about is the difference between a book review and literary criticism. And this is fairly common as newer students in the sub-major get into this type of research. And it's pretty easy to see the distinction between the two. A book review is usually written for an average reader to determine if a book is worth reading or not. It usually summarizes a bit of the plot, and it gives the reviewer's opinion about the quality of the book. Now, sometimes it will bring in themes that are mentioned or compare works of the same author or to other authors, but it's generally just the opinion and should a reader bother with this book. Literary criticism, on the other hand, is written for academics. It's written by your professors to talk about the themes in a work and compare or expand upon themes. They often compare books from the same author or books about the same theme from different authors or books from the same genre or books from the same time period. And they're not really opinion pieces, they're interpretations and attempts to understand what the author was trying to communicate to the reader, or things that might not be visible to an average reader. In the end, literary criticism is not an opinion, but rather just a deeper look at what's going on in the novel. Now, something like 50 Shades of Grey or Twilight might not necessarily get true literary criticism, but things that might look philosophically at a piece, or might look at it in the context of a historical period. Jane Austen and Shakespeare are common topics for literary criticism, but anything that gets considered literature gets a literary criticism. And while you can find a book review on Amazon.com and they tend to be maybe a couple paragraphs, literary criticism tends to be many pages with links to other sources, a bibliography, and research that you can then access later. So to find out the difference between literary criticism and the book review, one way is to look at the length. The literary criticism will be much longer. Also, one will have a bibliography, book reviews will not, and they'll make sure that you know who your author is. If they work for the New York Times and it's printed on the New York Times webpage, it's probably a book review. But if it's in something called the Journal of something, then it's typically literary criticism.